Just to kick off the questions, it strikes me that a novel like this, a historical novel about the present day, is a bit like Bob Simon's Beck with the reader, that whenever you chose to end the novel, events were still going to keep on happening, and indeed they have happened quite dramatically since then. How did you balance the novel to kind of protect it from the fact that things were going to continue?
Well, that was difficult because you're right. I mean, I wrote the novel, took 4 years from start to finish. I did do a few other things as well, but it was 4 years. So I started it in 2006 and finished it in 2010. And I was very conscious that as I was writing this book, that the kind of political landscape was shifting around it at the time of writing. I mean, originally I'd thought that I would take the story up until 1997 or 1999, when after the big election of 97, or the re-establishment of the Scottish Parliament in 99. But then I needed to take it a bit further than that because of the sort of reminiscing that goes on in the early part of this century. And then, of course, the SNP won the election in 2007, and I kept thinking, just hold on for a second. So I'm very pleased that I managed to get it finished before May of this year. I added another volume. There was that danger that the book just kept on getting bigger because there was so much to pack in. And you're right, the ground was sort of shifting under my feet as I was writing it. But I think what I decided was really that there had to be a cut-off point. And as we seem to be entering into an even more interesting period of Scottish politics, that maybe that would just wait for another book.
It's very, very accomplished the way that you almost end the book as if Scotland itself is holding its breath, waiting to hear what happens next. And it did make me wonder whether you'd built up enough affection for these characters that you'd ever consider going back to them, and not next year, not in 10 years perhaps, to keep Bob Simon's Beck going, but can you see yourself going back to these characters as characters, despite politics?
Possibly, yes. I don't know about that. I mean, yes, I did. You do build up an affection for characters, and I did get to like these people. I'm not sure if I would want to kind of resuscitate them in the future. Maybe. I mean, interestingly, when I was writing this book, I did actually think of having a cameo role for the minister for my previous book, Gideon Mack. I thought he could have actually come back from the dead and kind of had a role to play at some point. But then in the end, I decided that I've had ministers, billions of ministers in every book in every novel I've written, and I decided this book would be minister free. So
you can have Gideon in the sequel.
Well, he can come at any time.
All your books have dealt with Scotland in various forms, but I was wondering, from your own point of view, what do you see as the continuities across your work, other than the fact that you're Scottish and you have an interest in Scottish politics?
Well, ministers already mentioned that. Strangely enough, I've also noticed in all of the books that I tend to deal with difficult father and son relationships.
Yeah,
and that's kind of weird because I've got quite a good relationship with my father. But I think that's something that, I don't think that's specifically Scottish, but there's a debate that's going on at the moment that's been kind of kicked off by Jerry Hassan about masculinity and men in Scotland and their roles. And I kind of have noticed that, my books have all got that stuff going on in them. And I'm also interested in history. Not per se. I did a couple of history degrees, so it's my kind of area of study. But I'm not actually interested in studying the past just for the sake of it. I don't really give a damn what people did in 1450 or 1750, unless in some way I can see its relevance or that there's some kind of thing that makes it interesting to me today. So I'm interested in how the past affects the present and the future and how it influences us. But I'm also really interested in how our present affects the past, because I don't believe that the past is static. The past is fluid. Every time you go back and look at it, it's shifted, it's changed. Yeah. And that obviously is because we bring our own ideas and opinions to bear on it. And I'm really fascinated by that thing, the passage of time and how that affects the way we perceive not just the time of our own individual lives, but the bigger time that then perhaps becomes the time of a nation, or the time of a movement, or the time of the world. I find that all very fascinating. I think all of those things come up in the books.